you've not been for a while or you're visiting, you're so welcome. We're looking at the moment at Genesis 11 to 15. We're thinking about the promises of God. So let's pray as I help us understand, hopefully, this passage we've just read. Lord, thank you. You're so good to us. Thank you that in a world where there is war and death and suffering, you walk into it, you enter into it, you make and keep great promises to us. So please would our hearts be amazed by your promises to us this morning. Amen. I just want you to have a think. Have a think. Has anyone ever made a promise to you? Just think. Has anyone ever made a promise to you? And I want you to think, how did it feel? How did it feel to receive that promise, to hear that promise? And what difference did it make to your life? Hearing and trusting that promise. Now, don't tell my wife, but I had to look this date up. On the 11th of July, 2015, promise was made to me. That changed my life. Things have never been quite the same. But it's changed it for the better. Or I don't know if you've ever watched the film We Were Soldiers. It's based on the war in Vietnam, Lieutenant Colonel Moore. And in the film, I don't know if he actually did this in real life, but he makes a promise to his men. He says, I promise you, when we go into combat, I will be the first man on the ground and the last man out, and I will leave no man behind. I wonder what difference that promise made to his troops, to his soldiers. It probably inspired confidence, didn't it? Trust. Or General Douglas MacArthur, after his forces were destroyed by a Japanese bombing, he had to retreat from the Philippines in 1942. The Japanese army invaded and took over the Philippines. But he made a promise to the people there. He said, I will return. I'll be back. I will liberate you. And after lots of battles, 2.5 years, he kept that promise. And he announced, I have returned by the grace of Almighty God. Our forces stand again on Philippine soil. And again, I wonder, those people who were waiting under occupation, waiting to be liberated, I wonder what difference that promise made to them, how it helped them keep going. Promises make a difference to our life, don't they? They inspire us, they change us. And that is so much more the case with the promises of God. Now, the Bible is full of God's promises. And today's passage is a key promise that God makes. If you were to maybe sort of choose 10 key verses in the Bible, key chapters in the Bible, Genesis 12 will be one of those key chapters. God made a promise to Abraham in the midst of a world that for 11 chapters has made an absolute mess of things. God makes a promise of blessing, of security, of joy. So we'll have a look at this chapter together. And the first point is this: God promises. And I just want to make the point to start with is these are God's promises, not human promises. So I wonder if you noticed in verses 1 to 3. Leave your country, your people, your father's household, go to the land I will show you. Verse 2, I, God, will make you. Verse 2, I will bless you. I will make your name great. Verse 3, I will bless those who bless you. These are promises from God. And that's marvelous, because how often do we fail to keep our promises? Sometimes just because we're physically unable to, we're not powerful enough. Sometimes because of our own imperfection. that God is both all-powerful and all-perfect. And he makes these promises. Isn't that fantastic? Promises that will change Abraham and change everything. And you can summarize these promises into three. And you can actually follow these promises all the way through the Bible. The first is in verse 1. Have a look at verse 1. The Lord said to Abraham, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. He promises him a land. The whole world belongs to God. And he promises a particular land to Abraham. The promised land, so to speak. Now, isn't there something in all of us that wants a place to call home? Don't we want that? It's interesting, of all the nations in the world, us Brits, we love to own our own houses. Yeah, we want our own place to call home. There's an immigration debate going on at the moment about our land, our country, and it's because we want, some people want our land to live in and to be safe in, but other people want to be in our land because they want a land to be safe in. Or take the war in Ukraine. Isn't it a war over land as much as anything? We rightly desire a place of safety, somewhere to feel at home. And God says to Abraham, I'm going to give you that. You won't be a wandering nomad. I will give you a land, a place of safety. And when we read the New Testament, we see that ultimately the place, the land God promises isn't a couple of thousand square miles in the Middle East. It's a new earth, a new creation. He promises us a land, a place to live for eternity, which is safe, which is secure, which is ours. God promises land. What a brilliant promise. And then secondly, God promises people. Have a look at verse 2. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. So he said, I'm going to make you into a great nation. From your family, it's going to be a great nation, Abraham. But there is a problem. Just have a look back at chapter 11, verse 29. Abraham and Nahor, his sibling, both married. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of both Milcah and Ishkah. Now Sarai was barren. She had no children. And so here's God promising Abraham a family, a people, a great nation. But his wife and him can't have children at the moment. And they're getting on a bit. And so we're going to see in the future weeks how that promise works its way out, how God keeps his promise. But God promises a people, a nation. And again, don't we desire to be part of a people? It's why I think we like to identify with certain groups. I don't know if any of you ever watched like high school movies, or you did when you were younger. 10 Things I Hate About You, things like that. Maybe I'm just showing the youngest, I don't know. It's a brilliant film. But you see like, these different groups. It's like the goths, the skaters, the nerds, the jocks. Everyone wants to identify with a certain people. We even had it in my school. I was at sixth form, I won't tell you where. And there was a big sixth form centre where we could all hang out. And there was like a big lounge where everyone hung out. And there was a little lounge as well. And they had a telly, which meant you could watch Neighbours at lunchtime. Yeah? But only the sporty ones were allowed in there. It was like this unwritten rule. If you were like really good at sport, really popular, you were in that room. If I were in that room, but we love to identify as particular groups, don't we? We like to be part of a people, to feel safe. Maybe that's one of the reasons you're at church today, not just for remembrance, but you see a community of people who hopefully love each other and want to hang out with each other, and see something of that community, and it draws you in. You're not quite sure what you think about Jesus yet, but you can see that there's a community here. And if that is true, it's great. You're so welcome. And that community we see in the Bible ultimately finds its identity, its purpose around Jesus. In the Bible, Jesus draws together his people into a beautiful community. God promises a land. He promises a people to Abraham, a community, a nation. And then he promises to bless them. Have a look at verse 3. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Gosh, everyone on the earth is going to be blessed through you, Abraham. What? The word bless, it sort of has different meanings in our world at the moment, doesn't it? You know, you sneeze, bless you. Or I've got a friend who she uses it in quite a demeaning way. Oh, bless you. Oh, really? But what does God mean when he promises to bless Abraham and others? Well, one way of describing blessing is maybe to think of it as experiencing joy in relationship with God. To know and experience God's favor on my life. To be blessed. And not just Abraham, but God says all people will be blessed through Abraham somehow. He seems to be saying in verse 3 that the way you relate to Abraham and the promises to Abraham will result in you either being blessed or cursed. Experiencing God's favor or God's anger. And that blessing will go out to everyone. It will be on offer to everyone. How is that? How is the whole world going to be blessed through Abraham, through one man? Or through his family, maybe? Well, Christmas is almost upon us. Anyone got their tree up yet? You're not willing to own up. Hopefully you'll come to our Christmas carol services. We've got loads lined up. But there's a reading that we don't actually have that often in Christmas carol services. It's right at the start of Matthew 1:1-7. It's a genealogy. It's a list of names. No one wants to read it. So you don't have it. It's lots of hard names. But right at the start of Matthew's Gospel, this is what it says. This is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Matthew wants to make it really, really clear that these promises that are made to Abraham and David, promises made to their family, are fulfilled in Jesus. He is in that family line. That's why they have these long lists of genealogies, names, to say, Jesus is the son of Abraham. He's the fulfillment of those promises to Abraham. He is the one that is going to bless the whole earth. He is the one man through whom you can either be cursed or blessed. You can either receive judgment or favor. The way you respond to Jesus is vital. Or in his gospel, John puts it like this: the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. He's able to make God known to us. Jesus offers all people everywhere blessing, joy, relationship with God, grace, forgiveness. He does that through not just making God known to us, but dying on a cross to forgive our sins. Simple people blessed through Jesus by his grace and truth. How will we respond to Jesus? So there we go. We've got the powerful promises of God, the land, the people, the blessing. And then how's Abraham going to respond? Well, Abraham trusts. That's a picture from The Hobbit, an unexpected journey. And in The Lord of the Rings, Bilbo Baggins says to Frodo, it's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out of your door. You step on the road and you don't put your feet, no knowing where you might get off to. I imagine that's a bit like how Abraham felt, isn't it? With some degree of trepidation, maybe, when he's told to, he says, leave your country, leave your people, leave your father's household, and go. But Abraham goes. He goes because he trusts in God's promises. He goes because he believes God can keep them, even if he's not sure how. He goes all in. He takes everything with him, doesn't he? All his family, all his... You see, when we trust God's promises to us in the Bible, it leads to action. We do something. And so Abraham goes. Here's a map showing his journey. You'll see down there, which is where he's from originally. When God made promises to him, he was in Haran, up there, which is where he'd settled his family. And in response to God's promises, he goes. You can see he goes all the way down there to the land of Canaan. But did you notice the problem when he got there? Look at verse 6. Abraham travelled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh. But at the time, the Canaanites were in the land. There's already people there. And I imagine they weren't particularly happy if Abraham sort of started setting up his houses and tents in their land. Get off my land, Abraham. What's he going to do? He's been promised this land. There's people already there. There's no space for him. We'll have a look at verse 7. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said, to your offspring I will give this land. So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. So Abraham's told, it's not you, it's your offspring, it's your family who are going to live in this land. And so Abraham trusts. He hopes. Did you see what he did to sort of show that he believed God in that verse? He builds an altar to God, showing that he trusts God's promises. That this is the hope of where he'll be. It's a bit like I imagine planting a flag, you know, when the Americans went to the moon and put a flag in it. It's like this. It's very American, isn't it? This is mine. I got here. I'm coming back. He builds this altar. It's an altar of hope. It's saying, I trust God. This is my land that you'll give me. I trust you, God. Maybe not now. Maybe it's not going to be mine now, but I trust you with the future of my people. Sometimes we have to wait for promises, don't we? Maybe you've been promised something for Christmas, but you have to wait. But if we trust, we'll wait. We'll hope. And again in verse 8, we see Abraham trusts in the way he prays. He seeks the Lord. He built another altar. He's hoping. Let me read Hebrews 11. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not yet see. And this is what the ancients were commended for. And it goes on in verse 8 to talk about Abraham. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he will later receive as an inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land, like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who heirs with him of the same promises. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. Faith looks forward with confidence based on the promises of God. So what about us? The Bible tells us that all the promises of God are yes in Jesus. That they're all fulfilled in him, that Jesus is able to give us his kingdom. A land, a place to live forever, the promised land, the new creation. He promises to make us his special people, his special nation forever. To bless us forever and make us happy. What will it look like for us to follow Abraham's example? Will we take seriously his promises? Will we trust them? And will we go? Will we do something about them? And just like Abraham had to leave something to take hold of God's promises, sometimes following Jesus might mean leaving things behind for us. Maybe certain habits or lifestyles or places or even groups that aren't of God, that are holding us back from taking hold of God's promises. Or maybe you're here this morning and you're struggling to hold on to God's promises to you. They seem so distant, and this world seems so tough. Maybe you think, God couldn't make promises to me, I'm too bad. Well, he has. He can. When we put our trust in God, he helps us. He gives us hope. He helps us look forward with assurance and trust. He is with us by his Spirit, and though we don't always know the way we're going, we know ultimately where we're going. And God is with us in that journey. At Friday worship this week, Jeff Hutchinson did a really interesting talk on remembrance. And he talked about the trumpet playing. We just had it, haven't we, before and after the act of remembrance. And the last post at the start of the 2-minute silence, that was traditionally used to sort of mark the end of the day for soldiers, the time for rest. And as it was played today, we sort of reflect on those who've died. We reflect on the suffering of war, of the sadness of loss, on the brutalness of our worlds. But then after the 2 minutes, there's that other song played, that other melody played, the Ruvelli, I think it's called. Ruvelli. It's played at the end, and it's more upbeat, isn't it? It's what they play at the start of the day. Come on, get up, it's a new day. It stirs your hearts with hope for a new day. Well, if Genesis 3:11 is the last post, reflecting on the brokenness and the fallenness and the destruction of our worlds, Genesis 12 is the Ruvelli. It's the optimism, it's the hope, it's the promises of God wrung out to give us faith. Let's pray. Lord, thank you that you make promises to people who don't deserve them. That your grace is so great, your power is so great that you can take people like us and bring us into a land, bring us together as a people and bless us. Please help us to put our trust in the power of your promises. Please would they change us forever. Amen.